This is the Griffin Realty Group Ask a Griffin podcast, episode number 1. Are you a buyer, seller, or a real estate agent who has questions about buying and selling residential property, but you just can't seem to find an easy way to get your answers? Well, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Griffin Realty Group and the host of the Ask a Griffin podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, we've created a few free step-by-step guides for you, and they're sitting waiting for you at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin, Griffin, courses.com, okay? Jump over there and you can get started, and we'll give you some guidance to get started in the right direction with you, your agent, whomever's interested. All right. In this episode, I want to go right after the sell side of the business, answering this question: why does the right asking price really matter? This is a question I get all the time from people that are thinking about selling, because here's why. Let's go to the first part of the answer is actually defining the problem, is that most sellers have these perceptions of how this all works, meaning how a house gets sold. And a lot of them know just enough to be dangerous to themselves and the process. And what they think is that they believe marketing actually determines the price. So in other words, that marketing comes before the pricing it right schematic. And that's just not right. It's not right. And I'll prove that to you. See, marketing is a component of a process, but we are talking about a financial asset, a property. And there is a marketplace for that. And I'll get into a couple parts of the answers here. But the real point here is that marketing is very different from the pricing mechanisms. Yes, marketing has an effect on it, and I'll get into that in other episodes here. But I want to just talk to you about why this price really matters. See, if you sort of guess at your price, it's the monkey throws the dart at the board and comes up with the price. And I say that because that's a Wall Street gimmick that they talk about, where even a monkey could do better than a money manager by just throwing the dart and picking stocks that way. Not true. I believe in good guidance. I believe that people do their education. We get their strategies together. There's always room for good guidance in any business. But in this case, I have to just tell you this way. Let's imagine that we have the greatest marketer that you've ever met in the real estate agent business. I mean, these people have it down. Not only do they do the digital pictures correctly, they have floor plans, Matterport tours, drones, all the great things that the digital age has brought to real estate marketing when it comes to selling a property. And you've got the best person, and they really know how to do this. And they get it out on all the social media channels, and they're savvy enough to know how to put money behind those ads, those video ads, those text ads, and they do it all. And it gets out there. And everybody falls in love. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful property. But the serious buyers, they get rooted out and they begin to lean in a little bit more. Now they're on a website. They're experiencing it. And they begin to look at the features that the property offers and the price. How much? What will it cost me to own this property? Pretty simple, right? So now we're down to the most interested people. So marketing was all fun and interesting, and now we're down to seriousness of purpose. We're now into the market-making phase, and somebody looks at it. And most likely, one of the first places they look is online. So you can't hear them, you can't see them driving by, and they haven't even called their agent friend yet, or you, the listing agent. So what is wrong? Nobody's coming. Is that a marketing problem? See, because the perception of the seller is that it is. And oftentimes when nothing happens, after all these promises during the listing presentation have been made, the seller presumes it's a marketing problem. But remember, in my what-if scenario, I have supposed that the person was all of that and more when it comes to marketing savvy, but yet nobody comes. Why? The wrong price. You see, it's easy to understand this concept that I just now start to look at, if I have this bundle of money to buy a particular property and I get excited from all the marketing, I go look at it and I've done some research and I take a look at it. I see what the money can buy and I make a decision to either buy that product or another product that's similar to it or nothing at all. I might think everything's overpriced. I might go to the sidelines and just rent because I am not in line with the marketplace. You see, so the wrong asking price will actually nullify all of the best marketing. That's the second point here, right? So the first one is, the problem is that we all believe marketing determines the price. Certainly it has some effect on it, but that's not right. Marketing can get somebody to see the product in a deeper, more richer way, spark their interest, get them there, but the wrong asking price will nullify even the best marketing. You want to see that in extreme? See, oftentimes when I'm teaching this, I'll ask somebody the extreme. Think about it this way. If you own a property that's worth $500,000, for example, and you say, well, why can't we just put it on high and somebody will make an offer? Well, that's the naivete from somebody when they express it that way about how a marketplace really works. See, marketplaces are much more efficient than that. So if I overprice it, I've just nullified all this great marketing. So you can't go back. You just can't play the game that way and then go back and blame your realtor. Okay, so here's where I protect my profession. You can't just blame people, but also your realtors don't take listings like that if you can't handle being blamed now because your marketing is off or something's off. And worse, don't take a listing knowing that this is all out of whack to begin with, okay? But the third point here is the market is going to punish you for that type of behavior. It's not the lack of marketing. It's the market not marketing that will punish you. So in other words, these efficiencies, think about it on Wall Street or in the context of stock, equity stock, right? Ownership in a company. If I have a share, 100 shares of stock for sale, and the asking price goes too high based on the fundamentals of the company or whatever the sway is in moving the stock upwards, buy or stop buying. See, that's what a marketplace does. It's efficient. It might chase a stock price up, but then it starts to find its efficiencies. Markets are very, very powerful. Very. So marketing is just a part of what can affect a market price, but the marketplace itself is powerful. So it's the market that's punishing you, not marketing. Now, final point here is, how do you figure this all out then? Well, first of all, what we always recommend our sellers do is consider the math. That's the final point here. Math will keep you rooted and less emotional in this process. See, when we're selling residential property, it's typical that it's a family residence or it's something that we use for ourselves. It's less of a business ownership as much as it is a personal one. So we get emotional. And the greatest fear that I find over all the years of doing this and coaching this is that most people don't want to be taken advantage of. That's their greatest fear, is that somebody will lie to them about its value just to hurry it along, or the buyer's going to take advantage of them and they're stealing it and I'm not going to give it away. See, that's all the language that's emotional. And it's easy to fall into that. Even for the most savvy business people, I've seen them really nearly fall apart and get emotional. They might have raised their kids there. Their folks might have been there and the memories are there. I just was in a presentation today as I'm giving this podcast that was very emotional. But when we brought the math forward, at least we can keep everybody rooted in reality. See, if there is a marketplace and it has efficiencies, there's typically a lot of math that's available to pull out. And I'm not talking about complex math. It's quite simple. What did the money buy? If you have a property on for $1 million and you think it's worth that, it's as easy to start the math by looking at what did somebody else pay near that property, like that property, and get for $1 million. We know those in our business as comparables. I think comparables is a tough word because it's very difficult to compare one property to the next, but I get the point. I'd rather just say, if you had $1 million and you saw what it bought here in the last 4 or 5 months, would you have bought that as equally as you would have chosen your own? And see, there's some reality that comes in. Next is we see all these online companies giving their algorithmic approach to value. The only problem with that is they can only glean a lot of the high level or big data from big data sources. For example, if all the assessed values are easily pulled from big data and then they're thrown into an algorithm to make a guesstimate, that guesstimate can be off. I've seen variances or caveats when you go to a site. Hey, we might be off by 20%. Well, guess what? The real estate marketplace in your locality is probably way more efficient than that already. In mine, well, right now it's running 95.41% of the final asking price, right? So in other words, they got 95.41% of the final asking price. Well, that's less than 5% negotiation. Pretty efficient. See, so there are pieces like that. We'll get into them in further podcasts that you can take a look at to help you through this. But let me just go back through this one more time. Why does the right asking price really matter? Get this all the time. And I express the answer to that, by being more thorough, saying, well, look, first of all, you're asking that most likely because you believe marketing determines the price, and that wouldn't be right. It helps, certainly, to a certain extent, but that's not what determines the price. It is not the major factor. Next, the wrong asking price will definitely nullify all good marketing. So you might have the greatest marketer. You might have chosen a great marketer, and it's nullified because you kept pushing the price beyond the reasonable range. And now all of a sudden, all of that's a moot point. Next, it's actually the market that's punishing you, not the marketing of the realtor or marketing in general. It's the market saying, not going to happen. So how you overcome all that is you begin to consider the math, and that will keep you more rooted in reality. What is the reality of your situation? I don't care what you paid, when you bought it, what you did to it. What is the current situation of the type of product you have in today's market when you need to sell it? Okay? Let me chunk this up to summarize it with a key point here. The reason the right asking price matters is because the real estate marketplace is subjected to the power of math, like any marketplace. And if you ignore it, you'll get punished by not selling in a timely and efficient manner. All right, hey, listen, remember, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future by getting our free step-by-step guides at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin with an I-N, courses.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss out on any of the insights each time we upload an episode. We also post all of our episodes on our social media channels. So remember to turn on your notifications for Griffin Realty Group. I know there's several out there, but you'll see our nice little gold logo, and you won't miss our reminders. Also, we'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with other people just like you so that they get the help they need, and you join our mission to becoming a person for others so we can help people get this done correctly. Hey, thanks for listening. Remember, nobody's coming for you, so go get to work on your own plan to ask the right questions about buying and selling residential property. See you in the next episode.